So we are now working on the division when denominator is a binomial. I will call this x minus 1, which is yellow highlighted, a divisor, and we are trying to divide it. Okay. And what's the process that we will use today to divide these two expressions? Long division. So what am I doing now first? First, I will be working on the long division. And we need to set up for the long division first. Like we put the monomial division over here in the denominator. This was the setup for a monomial division in the denominator. Now we have a long division. How will we set it up? Look at this. The setting up is simple, easy. I will use the same sign that we have been using in your third or fourth grade, maybe for the long division. You have learned it long back. Now a refresher. So here, divisor, which is the x minus 1, will be written outside of the sign x minus 1. Do you remember this sign? The long division somehow back in the third, fourth? I know it's long back. 5 or 6 years back, but this will now be refreshed. So x minus 1, which is a divisor, will be written outside. Then in the sign, in this long division sign, I will bring in the other expression. What's the other expression? X squared plus 2x minus 3. That's what I will write inside over here. X squared plus 2x. X squared plus 2x. And then a minus 3. Now, as for the steps, you see the first step, what is it telling you? First step is telling you match the multiple of first terms. What do I mean by matching the multiple? Look at this. I will be highlighting two terms in yellow here. Which two terms have I highlighted? X and the x squared. Both are the first terms in the expression. And keep in mind that the inside term over here should be in a standard form, the maximum exponent in the beginning. So now you need to think about what should I multiply this x with so that I will get an x squared. I will repeat it. What should I multiply, or what can I multiply this first term in the divisor, the x, with? What should it be multiplied with to get an x squared? What do you think? What multiplies with an x will give me an x squared? An x. That's right. So that's what I'm thinking. I'm matching. What am I matching? I am matching this first term by multiplying the outside first term with something. And whatever we figured out, that's what I will mention as a quotient. X is now here. Got it? My first step is done. I have matched the first two terms and I saw what should be multiplied to get the first term inside, x squared. Let's say if it, instead of an x squared, if it's a 4x squared, then I will put on the top here a 4x, because 4x times x will give me a 4x squared. But here it's just an x squared, no number in the beginning. So I have x times x, which will give me x squared. Now, hold on. Here, let's go for the second step. Multiply with the matched expression. What is the expression that we have brought on the top? I will use this red line as a scratch work. I will do the scratch work on the left-hand side. And what am I going to multiply now? I will bring out the divisor, x minus 1, and I will multiply it with the x, which is this number that I have used to match the first expression. Okay? Now multiplying will give me what? I will multiply it obviously with both x times x and x times 1 also. That will generate an expression which is x squared minus x. Agree? Easy steps. First step done. Second step done. Now I need to take this result, which is the x squared minus x, inside the division sign below the matching or the terms which are alike. You get it? So the same result that I got from the multiplication here, the multiplication, I will take it as it is, bring it over here, x square matched with the x square. And then after that, below the 2x, I will bring in this negative x. Now, what will I do as a third step? What is the third step telling me? Third step, subtract. Now we will do the subtraction. So that means I will need to change the signs. You see, if it will be a positive here, I will make it a negative. And if it's a negative, I will change the sign to be positive because I'm subtracting it. Subtraction, how will that happen? Let's try to do it. I will wait for things to appear over there in a while. X square minus x square, what will that be? What do you think is the x square minus x square will be? 0. X square minus x square will be a 0. And what should be the 2x after changing the sign from minus to plus? What will that be? 2x plus x? What will that be? 3x? No. It's taking time. Let's try to refresh the page. I hope it will be back once we are back there. Nope. And then it's taking time. Slightly there. Okay, it's updated now. So we have the x square, and then after that, x square minus x square will be a 0. Do I need to write down the 0 there? Not necessary. We can just simply leave it like this. And then 2x plus x, I can definitely write that one as a 3x. So 3x will be the next number. And then I will bring down the negative 3 also there. Negative 3, which will give me a 3x minus 3 in the denominator. 3x minus 3 in the denominator. So subtraction, how did the subtraction happen? The subtraction, we changed the signs, and the changing of sign gave me a positive x instead of a negative x. 2x plus x is a 3x, and I brought that negative 3 down from the top. I will simply bring it down. 3 steps completed. These were the 3 steps that we will always follow again and again. When I'm saying again and again, look at this. I have again highlighted the 3x. This 3x is highlighted. Now I need to match the first step again. What should be multiplied this term with to get a 3x? What do you think? What will I multiply this x with to get a 3x? Anyone? Plus 3, exactly. I will multiply it with a plus 3. We match the number, then bring it here. Let's write it down again. Second step is to actually multiply it. I wrote here x minus 3. Sorry, not x minus 3, the x minus 1. Which x minus 1? This same x minus 1, I will bring in my scratch work. And in the scratch work, I will mention x1, x minus 1 times 3. And that will give me 3x minus 3. That will give me a 3x minus 3. Every single time I will do the same thing, nothing different. Plus, here we multiply with an x. Now we are multiplying it with the 3. The same 3 that we have just matched, that it should be giving me with a multiplication, the 3x instead of just an x. So 3 multiplied with this gave me 3x minus 3. Now what should I do next? The third step, subtraction. Where will I subtract it from? I will bring it back over there below the 3x minus 3. We have already matched the 3x. If I'm multiplying the x with the 3, that will give me a 3x minus 3. And then I will do the subtraction. So I'm bringing the numbers down there, and then I will bring the subtraction process, change the signs, and then let's see, 3x minus 3x, what will that give me? 3x minus 3x. Same thing, minus exactly the same thing will always be 0. 3x minus 3x is going to give me a 0. And the negative 3 plus 3, what will that be? 0, another 0. So do I have any remainder? There is no remainder. It completely divides. So what is the remainder here? Let me write down. The remainder here is a 0. Make sense? Now think about one more thing. We just did the division. We had an expression x squared plus 2x minus 3. We divided it with an x minus 1. What's the result? X plus 3. This x plus 3 will be called a quotient. So this is a quotient. What's the remainder? A 0. How can I mention it? How can I reflect the facts that we have just found in another way? Let me write it down. Over here, what have we found so far? The things that we just did claims that x squared plus 2x minus 3, if I will divide it by x minus 1, if I will divide it by x minus 1, that will give me x plus 3. Got it? Another way of thinking about the same fact. Now, think about division and multiplication are inverse of each other. Agreed? Division and multiplication are inverse of each other. So another way of thinking about the same thing, which same thing? The fact that I have just written over here, this can also be thought about in another way. Now, let me write it again. Now what will I do? I will write it here like x squared plus 2x minus 3 is also equal to x plus 3 times x minus 1. It's the same thing. You know how? If I'm saying x squared plus 2x minus 3 divided by x minus 1 is x plus 3, then that will also be the same thing. Another way of saying the same thing is that this whole expression is equal to the product of two factors. X plus 1 times x minus 1 is also equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3. Okay, I will stop it here for now. So the first thing that you're going to help me for the example 7 is that I need to find a number, an expression, which if I multiply with that expression, this x multiplied with that thing should give me an x cube. So what can I multiply the x with to get an x cube? X squared. And the way to think about this, take this exponent, which is a 3, subtract from this the exponent of the outside term. 3 minus 1 will give you a 2 squared. And where will I put that now? Because we have figured out I need to multiply it with an x squared. We have matched the term as a first step. So what will I do? I will bring it in the scratchwork section. And in that section, I will set up my multiplication stuff. I will put over here on the top an x squared. And then I will bring it over here to the left side in the scratchwork, x plus 5 times x squared. Okay, x plus 5 times x squared, and that's taking time. Synchronization. Now, What will I do now? Next thing, multiplication. Can you tell me what should be the multiple of this? X plus 5 times x square. I will multiply it one by one. First, I will multiply the x with the x square, and then I will multiply the x square with the 5x. First multiple should be x cubed, and then the second should be 5x square. Good. Now what will I do with these two terms? X cubed plus 5x square. I'm going to write it below the terms which are there inside the division sign. So I have there x cubed plus 5x. What was the third step? Remember? Third step was to do the subtraction. So I will set up the subtraction now, which will be changing the signs. Don't forget it. So changing the signs means x cubed. Now it's a minus x cubed. And the plus 5x square, I will change the sign for this also, which will give me a negative here. So negative 5x square plus 2x square. What do you think? What will that give me? Negative 3x square. Make sense? Now, same thing. I will bring one expression from top next to this negative 3x square. That means 13x is now next to the negative 3x square. So we have negative 3x square, and this is going to be negative 13x square minus 13x is going to be my next thing that I will think about. You see this negative 3x square? Now this is the first term. What should I multiply this x with so that I will get negative 3x square? Who can tell me now? I can give you 5 extra credit points if you will be correctly telling me what should I multiply this x with to get negative 3x square.
Negative 3x.
Good. You got this 5 extra credit points. Negative 3x. That was quick. So negative 3x should be the number that I will put here on the top. Negative 3x. And then what will I do with that negative 3x? I will multiply the x plus 5. Again, the same thing in the scratch book. Remember, your contribution will get you extra credit, huh? So keep contributing when we are working on this example. X plus 5 times what? Times negative 3x. Right, Mr. So what will the multiple give me? Multiplication? Negative 3x square and then minus 15x. And that negative 3x square, it's still popping up here. I'm sure it will be there soon. The next thing that I will be working on, follow. Okay, now the two terms that we have here, negative 3x square, negative 15x, I will bring those here and subtract. Same thing, third step starts now. So negative 3x square below the term that we have over there, and then minus 15x. Remember, I will always subtract the terms which are alike. So I need to put the 15x below the 13x and negative 3x square below the negative 3x square. What's the next step? For subtraction, what will I have to do? Change the signs. I don't want you to forget, so I'm breaking down the whole process into smaller chunks. So change the signs for both the things. Now, definitely, negative 3x square plus 3x square will become a 0. And what does that mean? If it's a 0, I will not have to take it further, but plus 15x, this positive 15x, I have changed the signs, positive 15x minus 13x will give me what? A positive 2x. Got it?
Yeah.
That will give me a positive 2x. And we have it now. So what needs to be brought down now? What do you think? The 10. So the 10 will now be brought down over here next to the 2x. And that will give me plus a 10. This step also completed. Now we need to think again. Match the first terms and find the multiple. Match the first terms. What are the first terms here? X again, the same thing. What is the first term here? The 2x. So I need to match these two first terms again. And I need to think, what should this be multiplied with to get a 2x? And you write, Samuel, that's a 2. Okay? Yes. Fine. Plus 2 is a number that I will now multiply. And where will I do the multiplication? In my scratchbook section. So I will write over there. Again, what should I write there? X plus 5. Every single time, I will multiply the terms with the x plus 5. Now again, I'm multiplying it with x plus 5. And that will give me x plus 5 times what? The 2. Which will generate the 2x plus 10. Do we agree on that? 2x plus 10. This multiplication, once I'm done here, x plus 5 times 2 will give me 2x plus 10. And that 2x plus 10, it's a long process. That's why it's called the long division. Remember the name? Long division. It's a long process until you will get something, an expression which will be a smaller exponent than the x plus 5. So this 2x plus 10, the long division is almost done. Trust me, this is the last step. We are done. You see what I have written over there? 2x plus 10. Now, the last step. Last step is to subtract. Change the signs from positive to negative. By changing these signs, what happens? 2x minus 2x is a 0. 10 minus 10 is a 0. What are we left with? Left with a 0. That means the remainder here again is a 0. So my remainder here is a 0. Can you tell me what's the quotient now? What is the quotient? X squared minus 3x plus 2 is the quotient. Exactly. And what's the divisor? And how can I claim now what is my result? X cubed plus 2x squared minus 13x plus 10. If I'm dividing this whole expression by the divisor, which is x plus 5, that's how the logic works here. When I'm dividing this whole expression with the x plus 5, what will I get? That's what is the top green highlighted quotient, that this is going to be equal to x squared minus 3x plus 2. So let me ask you a few questions here. If I will divide this expression in the numerator with the x plus 5, what will be the quotient? Few questions. Can you tell me? If I will divide this numerator with the denominator x plus 5, what will be the quotient? Tell me. Evelyn? What should be the quotient if I'm dividing this numerator by x plus 5? This thing in the purple box? That's going to be the quotient. Again, another question. Good. If I'm dividing this, what's the remainder? What is the remainder? 0, right? The remainder is 0. Which one of these is the divisor? X plus 5 is the divisor. Now, another way of thinking about the same thing. Look at this. And this is the last thing that I will be sharing about this whole process. X cubed plus 2x squared minus 13x plus 10. What can that be equal to? Another way of thinking about the whole thing. This whole expression, if I'm trying to claim that this is something equal to something, two factors, the dividend is always equal to x plus 5 times x squared minus 3x plus 2. Keep it in mind, don't forget it, everyone. I will say it again. The numerator here is always equal to this quotient times the divisor. Why am I saying this? Because I'm trying to help you think that any expression can be written into the form divisor times the quotient if it's a completely divisible expression. And this is because the remainder is 0, so it's completely divisible to this. Now I'm using one more word and end of the lesson. X plus 5 is a factor. X squared minus 3x plus 2 is also a factor of this whole expression. It's something like thinking this way, that 12 equals 3 times 4. Agreed? 12 equals 3 times 4. If I'm thinking about that, 12 is a whole number. 3 and 4 are its two factors. 3 times 4 is a 12. Agreed? So these two, when I will multiply, these two will give me the same expression. And you do know, if I will do the division, the long division for 12 with a 3, what will that give me? The same way, the remainder is 0. Another way of thinking about the same factors, 12 and the division, if I will keep the 12 inside and then divide it with a 3, 3 fours are 12, that's what you can see over here. In a while, once it will appear over there, thinking about the same thing. That's all. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Any questions about this whole process? If there is a remainder, you will tell that this is a remainder, and the expressions cannot be completely, like the numerator is not divisible completely by the divisor. Now, if it's not completely divisible, the remainder is the